Welcome to the Financial Times. Joining me now is Fabrice Brégier, Chief Executive of Airbus's passenger jet business. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Brégier.
Good morning.
Let's start with the Farnborough Air Show. It's almost upon us. What can we expect from Airbus at the show, in particular with aircraft orders?
I think it will be a good show. The market trend is still very bullish, and we would not be surprised with some good announcements.
Now, 2 years ago, you placed a bet with me saying that the Airbus A350, your new passenger jet, wouldn't suffer the same level of delay as Boeing's Dreamliner, which, as we all know, was more than 3 years late entering service. Are you going to win that bet on the A350?
I think I will drink a very good bottle of Bordeaux. And we are getting closer to the certification. We have flown 2,100 hours with 5 test aircraft. We need to complete the last remaining 400 hours. And I'm confident that we'll certify the aircraft after summer break, and then we'll deliver the first one at the end of the year.
But in other words, the A350 could be up to 18 months late compared to 3 years for the Dreamliner?
Less than that. It's probably only 12 to 15 months from the original date. And for the last 2 years, we didn't drift at all. So this is a very good sign.
Let's turn to the Airbus A330 wide-body passenger jet. You're giving serious consideration to putting new engines on this jet so that it's more fuel efficient. How close are you to reaching a decision, and are you going to go for it?
We are getting closer to a decision, but we have started to study this re-engineering of the A330, which is the best-selling long-range aircraft right now, early this year. And it's more complex than just changing the engines. We also look at some kind of optimization and redesign of the wing, and we want to achieve performances which will be equal to the Boeing competitor, the 787.
But the fact that you're looking at this issue, does it tell us that you've got a weaker position than Boeing in the wide-body twin-engine market and that you need to improve your position?
So far, we have about 100 aircraft, 330, delivered every year. So much more than the 787. But it is clear that it is a strong contributor together with the 350 and the A380. And if we can find a solution to improve this aircraft, I believe it will confirm that we intend to lead the wide-body segment of our market.
Finally, let's talk about the relative strength of the euro vis-à-vis the dollar. This is a big issue for Airbus at times because you sell aircraft in dollars, but your cost base is in euros, and these currency fluctuations can hurt your bottom line. Is the European Central Bank doing enough to address the relative strength of the euro vis-à-vis the dollar or not?
The impact is huge. 10 cents difference make a €1 billion difference bottom line. And I believe at the current exchange rate, which is around $135 per euro, is excessive. And Europe cannot be the only zone of the world which doesn't use its currency to promote its industry, its services, its exports. So I'm very pleased with what the European Central Bank director is doing right now, but it's not enough. We need to find ways to reduce the value of the euro, which is totally counterproductive for all export companies like Airbus. And I believe an exchange rate around $120, $125 per euro, still 20% higher than it was 10 years ago, is probably the best that can be achieved, and which would mean that only competitive companies like Airbus could continue to produce, develop, and export from Europe.
So are there further measures you would like to see Mr. Draghi take to address the relative strength of the euro against the dollar?
Let's look at what the Japanese are doing. They have devaluated the yen by 20%. Here, we have just to go back to more normal exchange rates, and this is workable. We just have to give long-term visibility to the markets that this is now a key political willingness of the European nations and the European Commission.
Mr. Brégier, thank you very much.
Thank you.